We've recently done a video or a couple videos on the upcoming FNAF 2 movie. Not super excited about what we've seen so far. We have a video with a wish list, what we'd like to see. But beyond both of those, there is actually some speculation of possibly a series in the works. And this series would be based possibly loosely, possibly completely on Five Nights at Freddy's Fazbear Frights series. Now, I personally have never read these, but there is someone that we have here who is a FNAF fan that has read some of these and would like to give some feedback and ideas on what he thinks this series could look like. So, I am joined today by Common Magpie and
Hi.
TGK.
I'm
So,
here.
Common Magpie, you have actually read some of these books. You are, I'm a way bigger FNAF fan than I am. I've not even read any of it, looked at any of it, any of that. What do you think, if we're thinking like a series, so a weekly show, what is something you think would be a good first, like a season 1 storyline?
I don't know. Since one thing I like about it is that they have them seem like at first this don't relate to anything else, and then they finally reveal how it all makes sense.
So they start off with it seeming like it doesn't relate to anything else, but then at the end they tie it into everything.
Oh my gosh, is that Jeff?
Okay, so these are the books then.
Yepperdeedoo does.
Yepperdeedoo does. What of these have you read?
Okay, so I've read number 1. I think I've read a little of number 2. I've read basically all of number 4. I've read some of 5 and 6. And that might be it. I might have read some of the others, and I just don't realize.
Okay. So let's say, how much do you remember of number 1?
Number 1 I can remember clearly.
So what's the storyline of number 1? Let's say they stick with the books. They stick with the storyline of the books. What would we see? What would the storyline be for number 1?
So, in the first book, it's kind of like they have these stories that end up all tying together into one.
Okay.
And so, we would see some brutal stuff.
Some brutal stuff. I think that's to be expected, though.
Yeah. But more brutal than the movie, of course.
Okay.
And
What
the games.
What storyline wise?
Storyline wise, this takes place a long time ago.
Okay. So it's in the same
Universe.
Yeah, universe is what we've seen already, but it is significantly in the past.
Yeah.
Okay. What specifically happens? Is this kind of an origin story, or is it not that far back, or?
So it takes place at present time. Then it takes the main story of someone, and they just randomly decide, let's go to this closed pizza place. So they do, and then they go in a ball pit, and it takes them into the past when the place was still open.
That's the only part of it that I remember, the time traveling ball pit.
And then so he thinks, oh, this person thinks, oh, this is fun, I should do this a lot more. But he doesn't realize that this So the main villain for this one, it's like William Afton, but like not human.
Okay.
It's like this giant like creature thing in a spring bodysuit that just stalks this man every time he goes in, and eventually goes into the and eventually he ends up when this guy decides, you know what, I'm not gonna do this anymore. This the rabbit creature thing decides to follow him into his world and murder the man. That's only the first story in there.
And there's 3 stories in that book then? That's only the first
Yeah.
story that's in that book?
Mhm.
That sounds like actually really interesting. I
Yeah,
could
all I
see that.
remembered from it was just time traveling ball pit.
I could see that being.
Very interesting first episode.
So what about the other 2 stories? Are they similar?
The other two
Do
stories,
they
they're
involve
similar to
do
each
they
other.
do they involve the time traveling ball pit thing
Not really. They take place at the same time.
at
They
the
just
same
take
present time or in the past?
present time. It's
Okay.
just like they're different locations with different characters.
Okay.
So the second story is this girl who likes a guy and decides, you know what, I'm 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 too I'm too ugly for this guy. So eventually, it's like baby, but like 10 times skinnier. Comes well, this woman finds that 10 times skinnier baby and activates her, and the skinny baby just is like, I can make you look magnificent, great. And so days go by, they're like homies, and then eventually one night, they the skinny baby ends up going into her and then replacing her and putting her in skinny baby. That creature
Oh wow.
will ends up taking this person's body, like not like their soul, like their entire body, and just takes it.
Just
Wow.
bippity boppity, your body's not my property.
And yeah, and then she just runs off with the body, and then there's
Thanks later.
yeah, that's the second one. Third one's the I think the most brutal one.
And do all 3 of these stories tie together?
The final two tie in a lot, not as much as they don't tie together as well with the first one, but the
Okay.
end two, it's like one them the first one, it takes place at like FNAF 1 kind of vibe. Then the final two take place at like sister location. Their characters resemble like sister location kind of vibe.
Okay. So what's the story in the third one?
The third one, it's basically like a Funtime Freddy origin story
Okay.
where this woman is just like, I don't remember what she's doing, but she's like going around. Then all of a sudden, she just finds this animatronic suit, and she's like, "Whoa, this is cool." Then eventually, just snatches her and takes her into his stomach, and instead of killing her instantly, it's like this thing to where she cannot move at all.
Hmm.
Spring locks, and So this woman is just stuck in there for like multiple days, and then she's like, you know what? At this point, I can't take it anymore. So she decides to move, and she dies,
Oh wow.
and they are one.
So what might be interesting if they did this as a series and they had oh, I can imagine they're going along telling the story, but throughout each episode, they
Mhm.
jumping back and forth between all three of those, and every episode does that. And then at the very last episode, let's say it's an 8 episode season, the very last episode, it's doing the same thing, and then the last maybe like 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so, is
Mhm.
showing how all three of the stories are tied together. I think that could be interesting because then the entire time you'll be sitting and wondering, thinking, figuring out how are all these connected.
And then it's just like it totally blows up your mind, thinking I missed all of these hints.
Yep. I think that could be interesting. We'll have to keep watching this, keep track of this because I think this could end up being something that is, if they do it and they do it well, I think it could be very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Put me on the case.
You're on the case. Alrighty. Anything else we want to touch on for this topic?
I don't remember. Well, I don't know. I already explained one of the books, and that was a while. And I
Okay.
know like 4 more books. So
Okay.
that
He's gonna
was,
go
TGK?
through the entire storyline.
Yeah. TGK, anything you want to throw out before we move on to the next topic?
Not sure that I have anything.
Okay. Well, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. Let us know below if you have read all the books. Which book do you think would be the most interesting to start a series out on? Or what would be some things that you would like to see in the series if they were to do a FNAF series, weekly series? Be interested to hear you guys' thoughts, what you think on as far as that goes. And we see you next time on Screen Scoop.